everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy from Sewing Story Projects, and I am back today to work on my March wall hanging. I'm going to be making some blocks with my 6-inch cube, and I thought I would take you along. Just as a recap, I had made a few blocks previously. That is a shamrock block, this cute little applique leprechaun, and then I had also done this little Celtic twist. So today we are going to be making a block called the Louisiana Square. So I will take you through that. Thanks for stopping in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is pressing and starching my fabric, and then I'm going to rough cut it to size, and then I'm going to set up my cutter and my blocks, and then we will go ahead and start cutting. Okay, so I pressed my fabric, and so the next step is to use my Go dies. This is die number 4 from the 6-inch cube set. This is die number 5, and this is die number 8. So I'm going to use those 3 dies. Well, I apologize, my camera cut out, but what I did was I layered the 4 pieces of fabric on the die and I ran it through. So I'm going to repeat that same process for this next shape. This is shape number 5. I need 32 of these, so I am going to need 8 layers of the black fabric. Okay, so I might do this in 2 sets of 4. So to cut out the fabric, I want to make sure I'm sending it through the cutter properly. So I'm going to cut a shape approximately that size. Okay, so I think you can see that, and that will fit over this die, and that will give me 4. So I'm going to use that now as a template. Okay, where's the beginning of the fabric? Here it is. Okay, I'm going to use that as a template then to cut out the rest of the fabric. Okay, so when I'm done that, I will be right back. Here are 4 layers of the black fabric, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the die. This is the non-stretchy side, so I'm going to send that right into the cutter. This is what you missed before. It's so much fun and so easy. You just send it through, and that is 16 shapes. You just slide that off, and voila, I've got my 16 shapes. Okay, so I have 4 more layers here. Just repeat the process. Okay, and now I have 32 little cute triangles with the dog ears already cut off, because that is worked into the die. So I'm going to stack these all up, and we can move on to the last die and the last color of fabric. Okay, so for my last die, this is going to be die number 8. There's 2 rectangles on here. I'm going to need 16 rectangles. So I'm going to do 8 layers. I already went ahead and rough cut out the fabric for it. And so I am just going to lay my little template down and cut out 8 more of those. Okay, I think that will just fit perfectly. So that is the first 4. Okay, that is the non-stretchy side. I'm just going to make sure the die is completely covered by the fabric. And just like that, I've got my first 8 or 16, like 2 times 4 is 8. Alright, so I need to do 8 more. And just like that, I am all done. Okay, so I went ahead and cleaned up from the cutting and I laid out my first block. We are going to be using 2 of these cute little black triangles on either side of the lime green triangle to form a flying geese. Alright, so we're going to make a bunch of those first, and then once they're sewn, we're going to attach the flying geese. We're going to be attaching the pointed end here to this rectangle. Okay, and that's going to form 1/4 of the block. Put 4 of those together, and that's going to form one of the 6-inch blocks, and then I'm going to make 4 6-inch blocks and put those all together. Alright, so that's what we're going to be sewing today. Okay, so I'm over here at my sewing machine, and you can see I have my pattern laid out, and I'm simply going to flip this right sides together and line that up. And as far as settings on my sewing machine, I did move this to a scant 1/4 of an inch. I find that with my sewing machine at least, that seems to work best when I have a lot of little pieces to put together. For my stitch length, it's simply 2.5, and that's it. I have my 1/4 inch foot on, and off we go. Okay, so that is one side, and you simply pull that up, and I'm just going to finger press that for now, and then I'm going to put this other side on here, flip that right sides together, and you can see with the dog ears cut off, it makes it very easy to line that up. And there we go. Now, before I attach it to the rectangle, I am going to press this with the machine, with the iron, and get that nice and flat. Alright, I'm just going to keep repeating this process, and I'll check back with you when I'm all done. And now I'm just going to separate them, press them open, and then add the second triangle to the other side, and then all my geese will be done. This is a very quick sew. Okay, so I'm over here at my little pressing mat. I go ahead and set the seam and then press that open. And this is nice because it's just a repeat process. Okay, so I went ahead and pressed those out. You can see that it's lying nice and flat. And now I'm going to put the other triangle on here. So you flip it over right sides together, and you can see that lines up nicely. And then on this side, that lines up nicely. And I'm just going to go ahead and stitch 1/4 of an inch down the line there. Okay, so I'm going to do the same process again here, where I go ahead and set the seam and press it open. So I have all the flying geese pressed out, and now we're going to attach a flying geese to a rectangle. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put them right sides together. Alright, and what we're wanting to do here, we're going to stitch down this side, but we're going to want to get right where this cross section is here, we're going to want to get our needle to run right through that point. So how I help myself do that is I use my stiletto, okay? You can use anything pointy, okay, like a seam ripper or whatever, and I basically put that that point right where I want to run the needle through. And if you can see where the stitch comes through there, so when you open it up, okay, you have a nice little neat point right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that a bunch more times and get all of these put together. So check it out. I have a whole bunch of blocks. So now I'm going to go ahead and press these. They are about 3.5 inches square, so I am going to press those and then we will assemble them into a 6-inch block. Okay, so I'm just setting the seam. I'm pressing it open so it comes out like that. Alright, so I'm just going to continue doing that with all 16 of these mini squares. So we have all of our little mini squares pressed, and now they're going to come together. We have our flying geese going this way, and that's going to match up with a flying geese going that way, and then we have one pointing down and one pointing to the left, and you can see that's going to create almost like a spinning effect, and that is the name, the Go Louisiana block. Now if you have the 6-inch block pattern book or PDF, it is pages 58 and 59 that I'm following here for my pattern. Alright, so let's go ahead and sew all of these blocks together. These are basically a 4-patch. So I'm going to go ahead and sew the bottom half right sides together, and then I will sew the top half. Okay, and that is the top half. So I'm going to go ahead and put that right sides together. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and press these seams. I'm going to press one to the left and one to the right here so that these will nest together. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of finger press that. Okay, so that one is going to go to the left, and then this one I'm going to finger press, and it kind of is naturally doing that, to the right. And then I'm going to use a pin here, match up those seams. Okay. Okay, so we have our first block. There we go. Very exciting. Alright, let me go ahead and get my other 4 put together, and then we will go ahead and square these up and press them, and we're going to put all 4 of these together to make one big 12-inch block. Okay, so I have my block upside down over here. What I did was I just did a little snip in the middle, and that creates like a little 4 patch there. I know that helps there's a lot of bulk there, there's a lot of seams coming together, so that does help that come together. And I'm just going to go ahead and press this block out and kind of set all those seams, make sure everything's laying flat. So you can see there's a little scraggly pieces here, but essentially that is the whole entire block. Okay, so we are ready to square up our block. It measures almost exactly 6.5 inches, so I'm just going to get off some of those little loose threads before we sew all 4 of these together. I have this on a twirling mat, which really, you know, it helps. It's not totally necessary, but it does help speed things up. I'm really just taking off some of those little excess pieces. I'm not really, because I just measured this, I'm not really taking much else off. Okay, so I have squared up all 4 of those blocks, and I am going to carry this over to the machine here, and we are going to put them all together. This is the exciting part. So we need to match up these 2 center seams, and it's nice. One's already going down, one's already going up. So I simply need to put a pin there so that they don't shift while I'm sewing. And that happens on all of the blocks. This is a really fun sew, this little block. I really like this. I might do a whole quilt like this because I love when something goes together so nicely. And I'm telling you, those Accuquilt dies make everything so much easier because everything is the exact shape you need. Not that you can't cut it well with a rotary cutter, it just takes a lot more time. Okay, so let's see how we did there. Not bad. Okay, so those are joined together. Alright, so next we're going to do the same thing with the 2 top halves. Okay, this one's going down, this one's going up. And we're going to match those up. Okay, so those are put together as well. Now, to put the top and the bottom together, I'm going to press 1 seam to the left and 1 seam to the right. I'm just going to finger press them. And we actually want this to come together in 3 spots. Not only the middle, but we also want these 2 seams to line up and these 2 seams to line up. So I'm actually going to go ahead and use 3 pins then to make sure this all lines up. I'm going to take a peek. Let's see how we did. Alright, so that's seam number 1, 2, and 3. Not bad. Alright, so let's go ahead and press this and reveal the final result. Okay, so I just went ahead and pressed this, but I wanted to show you the back of the quilt here, or the back of the block, I mean. There are a lot of seams. So I went ahead and did that little thing where, you know, this goes this way, this way, this way, this way. Okay, so that lays nice and flat, but you can see all the seams for this block. And boy, that looks complicated, but let me tell you, it went together so nicely. So here's the big reveal here. Okay, so that is the Go Louisiana block, and I really appreciate you sewing along with me today. And please like and subscribe, because I'll be putting up more videos, and I will show you how our March wall hanging all comes together. All right, take care. Bye.